Oh my goodness, my bed didn't squeak that time. I am getting sneaky. I am turning into a ninja. Hey, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I decided that I want to know what my personality is. Because, okay, I took the Myers-Briggs 16 personality test several years ago. And I got a certain answer. And I was reading through the description of the person. And I was like, some of this is me and some of this is not me. This isn't really a good indicator, and I was kind of disappointed because my older sister took it and she was like, oh my goodness, Coriel, everything in here is spot on, like you've got to take it. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, it's like 51% true. And then years passed and my personality has adjusted and I've grown and changed, and I came to realize, wait, all of those things about that personality that I thought didn't describe me, actually, I feel like they would describe me now. I'm gonna take that test again and read what they were. So I took the test again, and this time I got something completely different that really did not describe me, and I was like, that's so weird. And so then I took the test a few more times, and I could not ever get that personality back that I really think now does actually describe me. Every other time I took it, it was a different answer every single time. So I'm going to attempt to take it again because I want to see if I can get that personality back. That sounds weird. I want to see if I can get that personality results again, or if it gives me something completely different that is absolutely not descriptive of me, or if my friend is correct because she thinks that she knows what personality type I am, and I want to see if I get what she thinks. So this is the first quote they have. Is, it's so incredible to finally be understood, take our personality test, and get a freakishly accurate description of who you are and why you do things the way you do. Well, we will see, people. I don't know. Okay, so how this works is, I'm gonna show you why. They have these little dots: strongly agree, middle, light, neutral, slightly disagree, medium, and strongly disagree. I guess I'll try to explain what answer I'm putting in. You regularly make new friends. No, because I don't really go out much. Now I have a job again, so I'm hoping to make new friends. Also, I didn't get fired from my last one. Stop it. No, I quit on purpose. I was only gonna work there for a couple months. I mean, when I'm in a social setting now, I will actually try to make friends with people. If there's a bunch of new people and I'm by myself. This is going to be the new me, though. I'm going to say slightly. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. No, medium disagree. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. Okay, strongly agree now. Okay, that used to so not be true of me, but now I feel like I have a lot more empathy. See, but I like that they said make you feel like you want to cry too, because I do feel like I want to cry. I just can't actually often cry. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. I don't usually have backup plans. I don't know. I'm gonna say slightly disagree. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. That is 100% true. At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. I would say slightly agree, because that's true. I want to get better at that. I feel like I have been getting a little bit better about that. It helps if I see another person who looks kind of misplaced, and then I will want to go leave my group and go talk to them. But if it's like for the sake of meeting new people, when they already look comfortable, they already look like they have a place and they have a lot of other friends, I don't generally go and talk to new people for the sake of talking to new people. But if I see someone who I think looks like they want talked to, I will definitely go and talk to them. Before, I would have just been like, oh, I feel so sorry for them. Esther, you go talk to them. Now I feel like I have the confidence to do it myself. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. I would say middling disagreeing on that. You are very sentimental. What exactly is sentimental of a person? Excessively prone to feelings of tenderness, sadness, or nostalgia. I would say I definitely used to be a lot more sentimental than I am. Like, that was a really big part of my personality, and then I kind of shut that down. I feel like God's reopening that back up, hopefully in like good ways. I would say, I guess, like middle agreeing. I think I am. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. Honestly, I never use them. So no, strong disagree. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. I would say like slightly agreeing. I don't know. It kind of depends. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. No, because if I think they're interesting, that means I think they are so cool and so high and far above me, and they would never want to talk to little old me because I am not interesting. So I don't want to go talk to them because I don't want to have it confirmed that they hate me. I'm going to say middle disagree. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analyses of creative works. Okay, see, that's something that I never did before, and then my friend made me do that one time. For the first time, they made me analyze, interpret some art, like pictures that I'd found that I really liked, and then some pictures that they'd drawn. And that was interesting and kind of uncomfortable for me at first because I was like, I don't know how to like say or talk about this. I've never done this before, but it ended up being really good, and now that's something that I think I do appreciate. And I do love telling people about my interpretations of songs, for example. So I would say strongly disagree now, because I am interested in that. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. See, I do work by logic in general, but with my heart, I feel like the Holy Spirit can guide you through the promptings of your heart. And so it's like, everyone's like, oh, follow your heart or whatever. And I'm like, no, don't follow your heart, follow God. But a lot of times, like, he speaks to you with that sense that it kind of feels like it would have been your heart. I don't know. But I don't know. More inclined to follow my head than my heart. Usually I like my head and my heart to be in agreement, which generally they can be, because a lot of times what God's asking me to do makes sense. Sometimes what he's asking me to do does not make sense, and then in that case I still, like, I can tell. I can just feel very strongly that it's him prompting me generally, and so I think I do often follow my heart more. Strongly agree, because the times that I follow my head is because it's in agreement with my heart. I don't ever choose logic over what I feel like God is prompting me to do, and for me, following my heart, it, like, that kind of is God's prompting. I pray about it. I don't know how to explain it. Just moving on. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. Strongly agree. Okay, there is something to be said for routine, for sure. Routine is good. It's good to make sure that you are also getting your responsibilities done and not just being like, I don't feel like doing them, so I'm gonna go do what I feel like doing, which is, I don't know, running away and having a picnic. I don't know. At the same time, I cannot stand my everyday being exactly the same. Like, I hate a daily routine of, like, every single day is going to look exactly the same because I do the exact same thing at the exact same time. It's like, I really like to have room for spontaneity, and, like, if I feel like doing something else at a given moment when usually I'd be doing something, I will usually go and do that. Especially because somehow I am really good about getting my responsibilities done, and so I will have time to do something else first, like creative, or I don't know, talking to someone, or like playing with my sibling or something. I will still have time to get my responsibilities done. So I do generally kind of go with what I feel like doing at the moment. And a lot of times, like, I will feel like doing something responsible. That's the nice thing, is, like, for me, it's a really nice balance of what I feel like doing, because I love being responsible, and I also love doing more creative things. There's a word for that. I don't know what it is. You rarely worry about whether you made a good impression on people you meet. That used to be very not true. Now I feel like I worry less. It depends on if I think I'm gonna meet them again and if I'm actually interested in being their friend. Because if I just, like, meet them, then I don't really care what they think of me anymore, actually. Whereas I used to before, I felt like I needed everyone to love me or, like, have their approval. But for me, I'm like, actually, I have people in my life that really, truly, deeply love me. And so I'm not needing that filled by any outside sources. And so I'm not constantly looking to everyone that I meet to be like, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Because I don't really need that anymore. Like, that's been filled by God, first of all, a lot more than I used to. Oh my goodness. And then also, I have people in my life that I do know love me, and that fills me. And so, like, if God wants to add new people into that group, like, I am all for that. I love that. I love people now. But I'm not taking that to people anymore, of, like, needing to know whether they approved of me or not. And so now I worry less. But, like, if it is someone that I meet that I'm going to see a lot more often and I think is a really nice person, then I will probably think about it like, oh my goodness, I really hope they like me because I like them so much and I really want to develop a friendship with them. So I'm gonna say medium agreeing that I really worry. You enjoy participating in group activities. That depends on the group activity. In general, like, it used to be group activities was like, yeah, something that we're all supposed to do, and you get forced to do it and they won't let you have any exemption, and they're just like, no, we're all doing it, so you have to do it. And I would be forced to do it. But if the group activity is something that I like if we're worshiping, then I will love to participate in that. But if we're all being forced to play kickball, then no, not really. But in general, group activities are things that I don't enjoy. So I'm gonna say strongly disagree. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. I used to would have hated that, but now I actually really like it. So I'm gonna say middle agree. I also really like things that do bring resolution. I used to really want all of the answers because, yeah, I wanted to be able to understand things and, like, know what things were about. And so I wouldn't like to have to interpret things for myself. But now I think it's interesting to think. I do. And so now I appreciate things that will make me do that. It's not my favorite thing, but I definitely appreciate it when it comes up. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments. When have I ever helped anyone else accomplish anything? I love helping other people accomplish things. I really like to have been the person to help somebody else. I guess. I would say slightly agree that it comes more from helping other people. I don't know! You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. No, middle disagree. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. Actually, I am not, so I'm gonna strongly disagree because, I talked about this in my video, The Prisoner, of like, I feel like God has particularly called me to be a prisoner to hope. And so for me, like, I do try to be really optimistic, I guess. Not like I'm always happy or anything, but I feel like I am always hopeful. And especially, there was a book that I read called The Martyr Song, and one line that really stuck out to me from that was, do you believe that everything can change in an instant? And ever since, I have carried that with me because, yes, I believe that everything can change in an instant. Like, that's what Christianity is all about. Of like, one moment Jesus was dead and there was literally no hope at all whatsoever for any kind of goodness in the world and at all anymore. And then the next instant, he was alive. And then that's hope for everything so much greater than we ever dreamed of before. Like, when the Israelites were expecting their Messiah, they never expected that good of a Messiah. They never expected that that's what his coming was going to bring, was eternal life with God and forgiveness from their sins, healing of their souls, not just healing of their bodies and their land and their lives. And so that one moment made all of the difference. And I think that that's how life works. Like, God likes to play out that resurrection again and again throughout life now, of like, the one instant everything is terrible, and the next instant, suddenly, somehow he flips it all around. So no, I am not prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. Now, if everything does feel hopeless, I'm like, well, everything literally can change in an instant. Like, it's happened before in the past. I know that from the Bible, and I've seen it before in my own life, of everything just, like, turning around. So I believe that it can happen again. So I will often expect and be able to hope for things to change, even when it doesn't look like they should. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. That is true. I will medium agree on that. Not that I've never ever chosen to be a leader. I have specifically chosen to be a leader sometimes, but in general, like, my default is to not to. You are definitely not an artistic type of person. I am so an artistic type of person. So, wait. Definitely not an artistic type of person, so I'm going to strongly disagree. Yes, that's correct. You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings. I actually middling agree on that. See, because I don't know that you can prove God rationally. Yes, you kind of can. I don't know. Whatever, but like, rationally, God is God. And just remembering all of who he is, like, whether your feelings line up with that in the moment or not. Like, I think our feelings are good and they're supposed to align with the truth, and that's supposed to be a wonderful gift, and I love it when that happens. But sometimes they're not aligned with the truth, and we have to speak the truth anyway and believe these things that are true even if we don't feel like it, and live by those and walk off of those and not just what we're feeling like is true in a given moment. And so I do think that if people relied more on the rationality of God and who he is, the world would definitely be a better place. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. But in general, I actually alternate chores and relaxation. Recreation! That's what it was. Not creative, but just like things that are more relaxational and recreational. Yes, that's what I meant to say a long time ago. But yeah, I don't prefer to do my chores first. I have some that I prefer to do first, and then I don't know, it kind of alternates, so yeah. But I do like to get my responsibilities out of the way eventually, and I do always finish them eventually. So I'm going to say slightly agreeing on that. You enjoy watching people argue. No. Strongly disagree. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. I'm going to say slightly disagree, because I actually really enjoy being the center of attention with people that I'm comfortable with people that I love and trust and care about. I don't care if anyone's paying attention to me. In fact, I really like it, because I feel like a lot of... This is getting into traumatic childhood stuff, let's not go there. But like, if it's with strangers, I don't generally like drawing attention to myself, although sometimes I am in a crazy mood and I will do it intentionally and really enjoy it. But in general, in public settings, I don't really like it. Your mood can change very quickly. That used to not be true. I feel like now it's semi-true, but the good thing about that is like, it can change from good to bad, but very quickly, but also it can change from bad to good very quickly also, because I have learned to, not like God is a magic genie for your feelings, but I have learned to bring everything to him as soon as I'm feeling it, and really, if I'm feeling bad, like getting to express to him why and try to articulate why, and then pray about it, ask for his help, or like proclaim truth over myself and say, no, I choose not to feel this way. That really often does affect my mood and bring me a lot more peace and yeah, put me back in a more stable mood. So it can change very quickly for the better also. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. I'm gonna say middle disagree. I feel like I don't generally lose patience with people. I feel like I am an efficient person in general, but yeah, I've never I don't ever remember being annoyed with other people for not being as efficient as me. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. Slightly agree. I do tend to procrastinate a little bit. You know, I've always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. I'm going to say actually very, very strongly agree because, okay, I know what happens after death, but speculating about heaven and what it's going to be like actually now really interests me and fascinates me. Wait, this says you have always been fascinated. I haven't always been fascinated at all. I always thought heaven was like sitting around singing forever, and it sounded so boring. And I was like, well, like, it must be great, but meh. So I wasn't always fascinated by it, but now I really am. And I love speculating about what heaven could be like. And I love talking about that with people. So I'm still just going to say strongly agree. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. Slightly disagree. Okay, I have become a lot more extroverted. And like if there's a social opportunity, I will generally go. And now I actually will stick around even if I'm not particularly enjoying it just because I don't want to go back and go be by myself. Because I'm like, well, I get enough of my own company. I really want to be here with these people and be making the choice to show them that I love them by giving them my presence, even if they're not really picking up on that or accepting that as hard as it is to give. Yeah, so that's something that I do value a lot more now. I prefer to have the opportunity to be around people, and I will generally take those opportunities now, whereas actually before I definitely would not have. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. I can't really think of any examples to give me an idea of what I'm doing in this kind of situation. So I'm going to say slightly disagree. You find it easy to empathize with the person whose experiences are very different from yours. Strongly disagree, because for me in general, empathy used to be something I really, really struggled with. Then I prayed about it and God really changed that in my heart, and now I feel like I am able to empathize with people a lot better, but it's still not like it's something that comes naturally to me. That's always been a part of my personality. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. I'm going to slightly disagree on that. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made. Middle disagree on that, I guess. It depends on the choice. Okay, actually I'm gonna say slightly agree that I really second guess choices that I've made, because that was something that I did used to do, is like second guess everything, but now I really don't. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. See, I actually don't really enjoy lively social events very much. I like deep, meaningful interactions, and that's generally not what social events are. So a lively social event is not just what I need. I will probably still go depending on what it is and who's there, but yeah, so I'm gonna say middle disagree. You enjoy going to art museums. I don't think I've ever been to an art museum. I almost went to one time in Missouri, but then that actually didn't end up happening, so I have no idea what they're like, so I don't know. I'm gonna say slightly disagree. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. I don't often have a hard time understanding. I'm gonna slightly agree on that, actually. It's not like I don't understand their feelings, it's just sometimes I have a hard time understanding why they are feeling that way, or feeling like they should choose to not be feeling that way. You like to have a to-do list for each day. No, I don't. You rarely feel insecure. I'm gonna slightly agree on that. That used to be not true. I was super insecure, but now I'm less so. You avoid making phone calls. That is true. I hate making phone calls. Unless it's calling my sister, in which case I love it so much and I will not avoid that at all. But in general, phone calls are really awkward, because it's like the worst form of communication. Because all you get is their voice. You don't get facial expressions. You don't get any kind of body language. It's just their voice. And you just have to guess. And also, like, it cuts out and it's really hard to understand people on the phone. So, yeah, I don't like them. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. No, I actually generally don't. So, middle disagree. Now, if there was someone that I knew that had a super different view from me, I probably would spend time trying to understand them and, like, talk to them about it and, like, think about it afterwards and, like, try to understand where they're coming from. But that's not something that I have come into contact with a lot yet, which I'm hoping will change, because I feel like that'll be good for me, is to come in contact with views that are different from my own, that belong to people that I actually know. But in general, no, so far that's not something that I think about much. In your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. Actually, I'm going to strongly agree on that. Well, middle agree. Because, okay, my favorite interaction is one-on-one. So I'm usually the one that initiates that with the people that I want to spend one-on-one time with and that I feel like are going to be available. But in my social circle, we often have, like, group gatherings also, and I'm not usually the person that initiates that. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. I guess just middle agree. You are still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. Actually, strongly disagree. No, I'm not anymore. You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. That is also very untrue. I do contemplate that a lot. I know the answer, but I will often, like, think about that a lot and talk with God a lot about that. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Middle disagree. You take great care not to make people look bad, even when it is completely their fault. In all honesty, I'm going to say middle disagree about that. I don't take great care not to make people look bad if it's completely their fault. Probably, especially if I'm like frustrated with them about it. But if it's something that they did that was like a mistake that they feel awful about, then I will probably try to make them look better to other people so that they don't get sadder or have their feelings hurt or anything. Your work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. That is very true. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. That used to be more true. I don't know if that's still that true. At this point though, I'm going to say slightly disagree on that. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Okay, strongly disagree. That is like my worst nightmare. Unless my job is like doing creative stuff that I always feel inspired to do. In which case, I prefer to do creative stuff alone, and I really love doing it when I feel inspired to do it. So I would love that job, but in general, no, I need a job that has other people there, actually. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. No, that's not true. So, slightly disagree. I mean, middle disagree. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. That is very true. Not true. Strongly disagree. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. That is not true. I am not an intuitive person. I feel like I have good observational skills and I will figure it out, but it's not like I look at someone and I'm like, I know what you're thinking. I am studying psychology, but, you know, we're not there yet. You often feel overwhelmed. No. Middle disagree, actually. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Slightly disagree. I feel like I would probably skip steps. You're very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. No, I am not. You would pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone else needed it more. That is true. Middle agree. You struggle with deadlines. Deadlines stress me out. I don't struggle with meeting them. I've never not met a deadline. How about that? I'm gonna say slightly agree. You feel confident that things will work out. Yes, because all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose or something like that. So yes, in the end, I am absolutely confident that things will work out for me. See result. INTPA. 66% introverted. 54% intuitive. No, I'm not. I'm not intuitive. I am observant. You are wrong. 53% thinking. 69% prospecting, and 76% assertive. It's so funny. I'm not really strongly anything. INTP, is that what she thought I was? I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. I need to ask her now. Logicians pride themselves on their unique perspectives and vigorous intellect. They can't help but puzzle over the mysteries of the universe, which may explain why some of the most influential philosophers and scientists of all time have been logicians. This personality type is fairly rare, but with their creativity and inventiveness, logicians aren't afraid to stand up from the crowd. I feel like they say that basically every personality type is rare. Maybe that's not true. Maybe it's just like my sister also got one that they're like, oh, only 2% of people have this one. But yeah, go look up what an INTPA is and read about me, discover how I work. The one that I got at first was adventurer, which was INFP, I think. Wow, so I only changed from feeling to thinking. I used to say I was INFP, and which is, yeah, the adventurer. And I was like, half of this stuff is true and half of it's not. And then now thinking back on it, I'm like, I think that was true. I need to read it again and see if I think it describes me, but there's not enough time for that right now, and also you don't want to hear a really long reading into all the depth of my personality according to Myers-Briggs, so I will do that on my own time after I finish this. I don't think I've ever gotten... See, INTP, I think that is a new result. I don't think I got that one before. I don't remember. I feel like maybe I got INTJ one time, and now it's INTP. I don't know, I'm confused. I can't remember which ones it said I was before, but I feel like it was at least 2 other things, so it can't figure me out. But anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye until more interesting things happen.